seals on my Ocean Rodeo dry suit. My neck is okay, the wrists are a little tight, and the ankles were crazy tight. So I measured my neck at 16 inches, my wrists at 7 inches, and my ankles at 9 inches. And I measured the circumference of the actual areas and kind of lined up to where it was 17 inches, 8 inches, and then 10 inches. And for the neck, it's pretty loose. It's not that big of a deal. It makes sense. It's kind of comfortable around my neck. For the actual here, it's also not too tight. I'll kind of just show it's not very tight. There's plenty of looseness here, and this also, it's plenty loose there. For these, the ankles that were the tightest, it's really, really a lot tighter. So I'm going to leave these for 12 hours, see how it goes. I might do it again for 12 hours, and then I might try it at 2 inches to see how it goes. I'll probably do more research on that and also just kind of get a better feel for this. But hopefully this will allow me to wear my suit and be comfortable. With me now getting into wind foiling, I rarely fall, and the board is 159 liters, so it's just a quick fall and I get right back up. I'm not really water starting for many hours, and the board is so floaty that if something really bad happened, I could just stay on top of the board. So I'm not super concerned about insanely tight seals with no water going through and just with sweat and just the nature of dry suits. There's going to be a little water in there potentially anyway. So I'd much rather have a comfortable experience. Well, I tried on the suit and gave it about 15 minutes, and it still caused quite a bit of pain around my ankles and wrists. My neck was okay, but that was after the stretch test, so I would still want it to be a little loose. Chance of me wearing the suit for a long period of time is high, so I'm just going to take one ring out, the very first. I think I'll be good. The cool thing, though, about the stretching that I did is now I know it's not going to stretch anymore, because I stretched it a little bit past what my measurements are. So my plan is to do one ring there, and here it's pretty good, but probably go a little bit down below here. And on the feet, I know they say go one bit at a time. I'm definitely going to take a little bit more off than 1/8, so maybe 1/4 of an inch. Definitely we don't want to be spending the next few days cutting off little bits. But I do know that the more this is reduced, as far as the band, there's less resistance to pull open. So I will take it slow. I just don't want to take it too slow on the feet, because when I measured the feet, the opening is just a little over 6 inches for circumference, and my ankles are 9 inches. And it really, I'm in a lot of pain as far as if I just sit there. It's not as bad if I move around or if I'm wind foiling, but for just sitting there, the effects are, they come around faster. Where this, it measures just under 6 inches, and my wrists are 7 inches, so it's not as big of a deal. So I think taking off a little bit will reduce the area, but also reduce the stretch this whole band has. Like a thin rubber band is much easier to stretch than a thick rubber band, even if it's the exact same material thickness. So yeah, we'll give it a shot. I have a fresh, unused razor blade, so this will be good. Let's see if I can start here. I'm going to probably do most of this off video, just because I want to go slow and really pay attention to what I'm doing. But let's see if I can get it. And I'll probably be taking a long time, just going really slow, so I don't want to rush it. There we go. So let's see if I can see the line forming here. Yep. So there's a slit. So I'm gonna go off recording here. It's pretty much just gonna be that. I'm gonna go really slow, 2 hands. Might even put on some peaceful music, because I really want to make sure this is a fun process. I've been very nervous about this, to be honest. A lot of anxiety towards this. So I'm just gonna do all of these, get them done, then test my suit on sitting down, calm, so my heart's not pumping, and give it 15 minutes to see if there's any achiness. But there's definitely like red marks just for 15 minutes. Yeah, well, phew, I guess that was really easy. Just slow and careful. I think the slow and careful is the important thing, not necessarily that it's hard. So I'm just doing little bits at a time. I think if you do a continuous run, it's better, but I'm making sure I go right into the actual and making sure it's straight on. There was one time where let's make sure that's cut, not pulled. There we go. There was one time where I made a jagged edge by accident, and then I just did it again and cut a little. I kind of moved further back and cut down into that. So it's nice, smooth. And I've heard from multiple videos that it is totally cool if you make it wavy. You just can't make jards or jags. That's why it's really important to have a sharp blade. So I'm going to be looking around for any spots that look like they might have jagged edges, because those theoretically could, that might be a spot. Let's see. Those could theoretically tear, so I was pretty slow, and the one spot I saw, I kind of took care of it, so it looks pretty good. Nice. That should help with neck, and on to the wrists. That feels pretty good. There's a lot of breathability. I'm not going to wear this as I drive to and from the actual water, so it's just going to be for the session, so I can see if I'm uncomfortable. Ideally, I could be really comfortable, and I think it might be, so I'm going to leave that for now. So I tried this wrist with no cutting, and this wrist with the cutting, and here's the ring, so it's a little bit of a, definitely took off a bit amount. I didn't go too light on that, and I don't know, it's still pretty tight. Definitely you can see how it's kind of, I can, squeezing my skin a little bit. There we go, that's, you kind of see it's really squeezing. Yeah, right there, it's kind of pressuring. So I might actually take a little bit more off. For my second cut, I'm going to use the container as a guide, and I should just be able to go right around this container for the sharp blade. That worked okay, but the curvature was kind of hard to cut in. It kind of twisted around. So if you're going to use the level of a container kind of to monitor the line, if it doesn't actually have a line on the gasket, probably go 1/8 of an inch one way or the other and just use it as guide, but don't cut on the line, because it was a little bit difficult, and I had to go a little extra on certain spots that there was a jagged edge. Now it looks clean, but just a heads up. Nice. Well, I ended up removing 4 rings, which is about 3/4 of an inch, and you can see the difference in the distance that I took off. And now I'm actually starting to feel a little comfort. It still has definitely snappy, same as the other, but it's just, there's a lot less distance, so it's a much smaller ring of pressure. So even though it's a snap fit and it's the same, I feel like this will put less pressure on my wrists. And yeah, I think this is good with 3/4 of an inch. I'll measure 3/4 of an inch and just do 1 ring, because I can definitely take off more and it'll still be snappy. But this is a good stopping point where I think it'll be enough. And if it's not, I can always remove another 1/8 of an inch and give it a shot. But here on out, from now, anything I take off is going to be tiny bits. But yeah, I'm going to go straight for removing 3/4 of an inch for this one, because it's just way too much. Dun dun dun! The dreaded ankles! So now I'm going to be doing the ankles. And as you can see, over an inch past, it has a fairly tight feel, you know, about neutral tightness at about 7. And my ankles are 9. So I'm not going to be cautious with these things at all. I'm going to take off 1 inch and then maybe 1/2 inch at a time, because I was surprised on, here's the 3/4 of an inch, and my wrists are fine. They're plenty tight. There's plenty of snap around my wrists, and I might even take off more. So I'm definitely going to start with 1 inch, and then I'll go ahead and put the legs on to see how it feels. But I'll probably be taking off more than 1 inch based on how tight these are. Just say I took off a little bit more than 1 inch. Let's see, it's about 1.25 inches first go. But as you can see, still plenty snap tight. But now I don't think my ankles are going to be super crazy sore. And there, you even see that it's definitely there's definitely pressure around my ankles. But this feels pretty good, and because it's 1.25 inches off, I think I'm going to stay there. I don't think I'm going to cut any more off. That was a lot. That's a lot to cut off. But I think I'm going to do the same for the other, because I definitely can cut off quite a bit more. I could probably, honestly, cut off another ½ inch and still have it be plenty tight. But I think I'm at a point where I won't be uncomfortable now. That's a lot less strength on my ankles. I mean, look at that. It's just silly how tight they were. Anyway, yeah, so I'll do the same, and I think I'll be good for a test fit. Yeah, okay. Rather than going through lots of blades, I found after about 3 or 4 go-arounds, this is starting to get dull, especially on the tips. And I have this really cool, what is this? This cool knife sharper, Kitchen IQ. It does a coarse and a fine. The fine I've been using a lot, so I'm not sure if it's worn down, but the coarse seems like it's really, it almost seems sharper after the coarse. So I do the coarse, and then I just kind of go, let's see if I can do this. Seeing. I don't go all the way into the groove. I kind of go like this, and then go to the other side, more like a traditional knife sharpener. Now the suit fits great. Look at all that gasket material I took off. This suit was crazy tight, and it still is very, very snap tight, but I don't feel achy or uncomfortable. And you know, the more I move, the less a big deal it is. But this should be totally watertight, and I'll go try this before I post the video and make sure it is watertight. But yeah, I feel really good about this, and I feel like it even can remove more if I need to. So I don't think I overdid it, even though that's how much I removed. Cool, I'm gonna test the seals of my suit. I took a lot off the ankles and wrists. On the drive down, it felt really good. So make sure my suit is all burped out first. And let's see if you can see. There he is, right there. But I'm gonna try to kick around, put some weight on my neck. Before the last test I just did, I didn't want to put any weight on the seal in case the seals were cut too small, that I wouldn't feel, if I felt water coming in the suit, it'd be full of that. So I'm just going to put some pressure on these. Again, with my large volume board, I'm not going to protect that. I'm just going to punch around. I got to simulate a potential crash. Yeah, they are snap tight. Ankles feel nice and warm. They don't feel really tight at all. Neck feels good. That feels pretty good. I feel satisfied. This is longer than I would spend in the water anyway. And whenever I hit the water, I'm going to be getting back on the board immediately. I'm not going to kind of play. I'm much more happy to uphaul than water start. Yeah, go to see me. So yeah, that worked. I could take off more, but on the drive down, I didn't feel uncomfortable, which is the big test. And also, when I'm windsurfing or moving around, I don't feel any discomfort at all. So it just goes to show, one thing that I haven't seen on videos is they don't really say measure the actual gasket material circumference unstretched. And what I found was that it was about 6.25 inches around my ankles. My ankles are 9 inches in circumference. That's just insane as far as the difference in stretch. So as you're cutting your gaskets or going slow, and definitely go slow, don't cut as much as I did, especially if you have the time. I just wanted to get it done and get those gaskets off so I could go windfoiling without me having extreme discomfort. But also measure, you know, if your gaskets are a ½ inch smaller than your wrists, then you should probably be fine without any cutting or stretching. If they're 3 inches, about 3 inches too small, that's going to be a problem. You can start cutting off some serious material and measure exactly where you're cutting. And you can maybe go a little faster without taking days of testing like what I did here. But I think I'm good. I'm going to leave it as is, and I hope this helps, and maybe you could get some bonus off this for cutting your dry suit seals and having a great time on the water. Anyway, until next time, have a good one. Bye.